April 1778. Two upper-class Irish women put on men's clothes, carried a pistol, grabbed a lapdog named Frisk, and ran away from their families forever. The first attempt failed. They tried again. They succeeded. They moved to a cottage in Wales, called it New Hall, and became the most famous couple in Georgian Britain. The Duke of Wellington visited. So did Wordsworth. Let us establish the situation these two women were escaping from. Because when the story is told as a romance, two women in love, fleeing to Wales, what gets lost is the specific, documented nature of what they were running toward if they stayed. Lady Eleanor Butler was born in 1739, the youngest daughter of the Butler family, Earls of Ormond, whose seat was Kilkenny Castle. She was educated at the English Benedictine Convent of Our Blessed Lady of Consolation in Cambrai, France, the kind of education available to well-connected Catholic women, conducted by, as the encyclopedia, calm account notes, liberal, well-educated, and often aristocratic nuns. She emerged fluent in French, thoroughly read in classical and modern literature, and returned to her family's ancestral castle at 40, a sharp-witted, well-read, unmarried woman who had resisted every marriage proposal her family had managed. Her family's diagnosis, overeducated bookworm. Their solution, a convent permanently. They were not asking. Eleanor was Catholic, female, and the youngest child. She had no legal right to refuse. The convent in Cambrai was waiting. Open loop 2. Sarah Ponsonby was not facing a convent. She was facing something entirely different and in some respects more immediate. Meme sting. Eleanor Butler, educated in France, read everything, speaks multiple languages. Consequence: her family wanted to lock her in a religious institution forever. The 18th century, very encouraging of female intellectual development. Sarah Ponsonby was an orphan, born 1755, 12 years younger than Eleanor. She had been placed with relatives in Woodstock, County Kilkenny, after her parents died, specifically under the guardianship of a man named Sir William Founds. The encyclopedia, calm account of Sarah's situation, describes what she was trying to escape as the unwanted sexual advances of her supposed guardian Sir William. This is not ambiguous. It is not rhetorical. Sarah Ponsonby, living under the legal authority of her guardian, was being subjected to predatory behavior by the man who was supposed to protect her. The supposed guardian is doing specific work in the historical record. The alternative to staying at Woodstock in 1778 was marriage to someone her family selected, or reliance on an institution, a convent if she were Catholic, or dependent charitable care if she were Protestant. That was not significantly better. Sarah was Anglican. She did not have the convent option. She had the marriage option. She was not interested in the marriage option. What she had instead was Eleanor Butler, 12 years older, her teacher, her close friend since she was a teenager. The relationship between them, as independent scholar Eugene Coyle describes it, was intense, a word the 18th century understood to mean something, even if it was careful about what that something was named. The 18th century options for women of their class, Irish, aristocratic, Protestant, or Catholic, were marriage, religious institution, or dependent relative. Those were the categories. The framework was not negotiated, it was assumed. A woman who refused marriage was, by the logic of her era, a problem to be solved rather than a decision to be respected. Eleanor Butler was 40 and had been refusing marriages for 2 decades. Her family had run out of patience. Sarah Ponsonby was 23 and had a guardian who had run out of restraint. The specific solutions their respective households had developed, convent for Eleanor, marriage, or continued victimization for Sarah, were different in mechanism but identical in principle. Do what the institution requires and stop being inconvenient. The two women had been planning. Since 1768, when they met Sarah, a teenager, Eleanor in her late 20s, their intense relationship had been building toward a decision that both of them understood would be irreversible. They were going to leave. Together. not to be near each other but to live their lives together, in what the 18th century called romantic retirement, a recognized concept, a form of retreat from fashionable society to a quiet place where one improved oneself through reading, gardening, walks and correspondence with the great minds of